In a democratic country like India, we cannot ignore the significance of elections. But very recently, during the tenure of our present Prime Minister, there had been a voice that there would be one nation and one election. Actually, this was voiced in Lok Sabha first, and later on there was a national seminar in 2018. This was primarily endorsed by the organizations like RSS and others who support the idea of one nation and one election. It is not a new concept in India because if you remember, trace back the history, when India was getting ready with its constitution between 1947 to 1950, our constituent assembly was a representative body, and for the first time in India there was general elections in 1952. This was one election, one nation, one election. Lok Sabha, state assemblies, everybody's election was conducted at one time. Not only that, such not only in 52, in 57, 62, 67 also, we had one nation, one election, means all the elections were conducted simultaneously. But today, if we see that we have state legislative assemblies who conduct their elections, how does the constitution talk about it? How do the laws talk about it? Under Article 83 of Indian Constitution, the India Constitution provides that the duration of both the houses of the parliament, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, it would be there. And the article also says that the council of the states shall not be subject to dissolution unless one third of its members retire as soon as the expiry of the second year. And also it keeps on talking about the duration of the houses of the people. Remember, even if we plan one nation and one election, the bigger challenge is going to be the dissolution of the councils of the states. Are we going to terminate that suddenly? It will be like proclamation of an emergency, right? Or you can extend the term of the two houses for some years. Under Article 85, President can dissolve the House of the People. But if the President find it fit to dissolve Lok Sabha, then he must give a notice to the Speaker. But question again remains, will the ruling and the opposition together do that, do such dissolution? Under Article 174, the governor has the ability to dissolve the state legislature. Well, that can also happen in case of an emergency. So here the question remains is that although it is a sound idea, the nature of Indian Constitution practically may not allow such thing to happen. Well, if you think that what will be the ground of proclamation of emergency through which such thing can be done, we all know about the benefits that it may bring. It will be reducing the cost of conducting elections. No doubt, it would also reduce the election tantrums that keep on happening months and years before election. It would reduce the wastage of the time of the people who are working in government and are appointed as election officers in various polling booths throughout India. There are a sizable number of government employees who are removed out of their work, daily work, just to conduct the election duty. Although the technology like EVM has facilitated the process a bit, we know all the benefits, no doubt. But question is that how are we going to effectuate it truly? It's not going to be easy affair, because if the center or the union or maybe the state government decides to go for emergency or decides to dissolve for this purposes, it's going to create a lot of political disturbance too. We know that one of the strong grounds on which the president or the governor can do so will be defection. So that is why we have anti-defection law also. Defection can be a strong ground to dissolve this. But again, defection in India is rampantly happening. Political parties are appointing their representatives from political parties which are ideologically quite different from them. However, sometimes we know that people from one political party, they shift themselves to a different political party with a highly different set of ideology, but all these things happen hidden. The monetary transactions, the corruption that happens in these defections is quite hidden. You cannot really prove it. In order to prove it, it must happen somewhere in limelight. It doesn't happen so. So truly, it is difficult to bring a kind of condition where such thing can happen. Everybody talks about the benefits of having one nation, one election. But we should also be aware regarding the negative impact on the economy and the people of India. First of all, if the constitution has allowed different elections, now if the constitution makers had wanted, they would have introduced this feature from the very beginning. But why they have allowed such that there should be separate elections in the state and union? One of the strong reasons is that it allows people some time to consider on the legislative matters. The states need ratification, they need to approve any central law. So, different elections at different point of time allow such things to happen. Second, Election Commission of India, which is the central body to conduct elections, it decides on the parliament and state legislatures on its rules, and there is also state election commission. If we make one election at one point of time in a common electoral roll, the states also need to freeze their constituency boundaries. They have to make a uniform calendar. They have to freeze upon, okay, these are my constituencies and these are my representations, which require a lot of amendment in the state laws itself. It's not going to be that easy. When we think about a state, the state works in a limited area and the election commission takes over. Easy on behalf of election commission to manage any problem if it happens using the military, paramilitary or police forces, etc. Imagine that all the legislature, urban local bodies, panchayat elections, and central government elections all happening at one time, probably we may not be able to control the disturbances arising thereof, if by chance there is, with the limited amount of police force that we have, paramilitary forces that we have. We have 29 states, 2 union territories. Election for the center and all these at one time will completely paralyze the governance for specific amount of time, because we will require more number of people to conduct the election process. So what will happen to the basic things that people get, their expectations from the governance, that will be compromised. So we need to think about that. Second, if there is one nation and one election, it would be like the political parties will have a tendency to pour all of their effort to win that. Means they will try by hook or by crook, biasing the media, controlling the mindsets of the people, putting crores and crores of rupees, because they are very sure that if it is going to work, now their next 5 years is secure. We must understand that one of the key features of democracy is insecurity. Insecurity makes democracy run. The first insecurity comes out of the opposition. The opposition needs to challenge. Similar insecurity comes out of the uh, state vox populi, state popular opinion. So the government at the center is warned of it, and it gives them adequate amount of time. And the political parties also will have a hell lot of problem if such a thing happens. It would be practically impossible for them, for the central leaders, to move around different corners of India, try to go for political campaigns, talk to people, meet the representatives or the party ticket owners. It would not be possible. They are facing so much of difficulty to cover the diverse number of states that we have in today's time, that they don't even visit their own constituencies sometime. It would never will be possible on the part of the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha members to be in touch with people throughout. So these are some of the grave concerns. And the people who give argument in support, they say that it will save time, it will save money, it will save manpower that is invested in the election. Also, another strong argument that they give is that it will be eliminating the duplicacy of names. Come on, we have to understand that there could be better ways to minimize the cost. EVM is something that had reduced the costs of election. Think of ways. We have technology, we have mobile phones, IT to support us. With the proper digital infrastructure and technology, we can reduce the cost, reduce time wastage. And regarding the removal of duplication of names and creating a uniform database, yeah, that is the need of the hour. Once it is done through Aadhaar or any other network properly, that problem can also be removed. Some people say that making one nation, one election will reduce the malpractices. Some people say that EVMs are hijacked, and election commission will be focusing um, only once in 5 years. It doesn't have to trouble much. Let us understand, election commission is empowered with the duty to conduct fair elections, and they have to work efficiently. If By one nation, one election, they are able to run the election efficiently. There must be enough data regarding it, that how one election is going to make them efficiently run. We understand that expenses are borne by both government and the center and the state level. No doubt, it is a burden on the exchequer. But single election may not be a solution to this burden. Ultimately, the expenses which are borne today must be borne on a 50-50 basis. Means both the central and the state government must contribute. In the union elections, the state government should contribute, and in the elections, the union government must contribute if you want to share the finances. Political campaigns that are being organized, I think, would be less expensive if the political parties become honest. If there is one nation, one election, probably they will be making hoardings, large standing statues, posters, placards throughout India. Now, if you make election in multiple states, you can reuse things. You just don't throw away the flags just because the elections are over. So it requires efficient management than demanding one election. One nation, one election helps, some people say that the NRIs who are vigilant towards what is happening in India, they can come to vote. Yes, they can. But why we want them to come and vote? Why we cannot think of designing ways where they can be involved in the national processes, being in their own places? Why physical visit is such a big mandate? Think of technology and ways by which we can do that. When there is an election, we have a model code of conduct. MCC decides what should be done, what should not be done. And throughout the election, it has to be obeyed. The MCC will be applicable once in 5 years. This is a very good logic, because of MCC, many times the state government jobs get withheld, things have to be hurried up, no doubt. The developmental activities may be also hurried up. True, true. But here is the basic question is that, do you think that MCC has been strictly abided by the political parties? And truly is it so that any development program needs to be halted just because there is an election? Developmental goals are always the goals of a political party. They who are ruling, they must conduct carry it throughout, not like in the last 6 months or 1 year of uh, the election. You announce 20,000 plans, you go for silanyashas and all. This all is superficial. Development programs must not be confused with the government or the political party. So I don't think that this even is a valid reason that just by making one nation, one election, the development programs recruitment will hurry up. May not, may not also. The same thing will happen, that within the last 6 months again they will become seriously active. So the matter is a debate. You can give your points of view on that. Think of it, and whatever line of action you want to develop for your speech, your writing, you can go ahead.